10 seconds. 5.
How confident should we feel after the Broncos win over the Titans? This is your Denver Sports Daily for September 8th.
The biggest stories, the latest news. It's Denver Sports Daily.
I feel like that's the question everybody's been asking. How confident are we about the Broncos after that win, that 20-12 win over the Tennessee Titans yesterday? Overall, a win is a win. And I'll get into that a little bit later because we're going to be talking all Broncos basically today. But that was a win. You got out there, you won by 8 points, and people are mad because you didn't win by 2 scores. And I was listening to The Fan earlier today on my way into work, and something was brought up that I really liked. And Mike Evans was speaking about, what if this win was 40-32? Everybody would be cheering on Bo Nix and saying, the defense will get in better shape midway through the season. Why isn't that the same way? Why do we not have the same method of thinking about that when it's the Broncos offense that isn't playing as well? 20-12 is a fine win. You know why? Because it's a win. It wasn't an ugly win. The Broncos didn't allow a touchdown to the Tennessee Titans. They kept them to 4 field goals, and they were able to put up 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. And that's a winning score. That's a winning record. You start 1-0. That's all that matters. So what if it wasn't the flashiest win? So what? A win is a win. But there are things to take away from this. And the main thing, of course, is that the offense wasn't clicking. They didn't look sharp. They looked dull. Bo Nix was not playing his best football, and that's fine. He is a second-year player. The Broncos are technically still, maybe not technically still, but they just basically finished their rebuild after the Russell Wilson scandal, is what I'll call it. But Bo Nix, he's only played 18, 19 games now in the NFL. Let him get a little bit of slack. He went 25 for 40 on his completions to attempts, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, and then 2 interceptions and 1 fumble. So overall, not his best game, but not his worst. I mean, the Broncos looked much worse in their first 4 games last season than they did this game. They did. So with Bo Nix playing like that, it's not going to lead to success down the line, but it led to success against a poor team like the Tennessee Titans. And then Courtland Sutton, of course, he was another shining spot on the offense. He had 6 receptions, 61 yards, and 1 touchdown. He was the highest receiver on the team. He had the most receptions, most yards. Overall, great from Courtland Sutton, but you would, again, like to see his production grow a little bit higher. I mean, 61 yards and a touchdown is always great, but you can see more. You can definitely see more from Courtland Sutton. Now, that was just the receiving and the passing game. The running game, though, they looked like something that we haven't gotten used to out here in Denver. That's because they looked good. They looked real good yesterday. And hey, before you start attacking me, let me finish this. RJ Harvey played well yesterday. Still, let me finish. 6 carries, 70 yards. He had 1 that broke out for 50 yards. An incredible play there for RJ Harvey. He had a couple real good pass blocks that he was laying down. However, am I going to start waving my white flag saying that RJ Harvey is the future? No. 1 play for 70 yards. Then you look at, okay, that's 5 rushes for 20 yards. It's about 4 yards a carry. That's exactly 4 yards a carry. I'm not going to go out there and start saying that RJ Harvey is the future quite yet when I'm seeing 4 yards per carry and then he gets 1 that breaks for 50. Great play. Set him up in the scoring position where they ended up getting a touchdown to the other running back, J.K. Dobbins, we'll talk about in a second. Great play for RJ Harvey. A 50-yard run is insane, but I'm not going to say that this guy is the next big thing. I'm not going to go down on my knees and start saying, please forgive me, RJ Harvey. I'm still not necessarily high on RJ Harvey. Now, J.K. Dobbins, though, 16 carries, so definitely the running back 1, got the most carries on the team, 63 yards, solid numbers, and 1 touchdown. Those are more consistent low gains than what RJ Harvey had, but he was able to break out for a 19-yard touchdown that ended up giving the Broncos a bigger lead and having that buffer set there to where they could end up winning the game. So both of those guys looked great. They looked real good. Those are the most rushing yards I've seen from the Broncos in a long time. I can't remember the last time that I've seen the Broncos play that well on that aspect of football, running the ball. I can't remember the last time I could say confidently that the running game was good. And I feel that now moving into the future, they'll be able to win some games because of how solid their running game will be. And it'll be consistent. It'll be something that they can look to when they're in a tough spot. So definitely great. The offensive side of the ball, of course, you want to see it get better when it comes to passing, but the run game looked great, and it ended up leading to winning the game. Now, that's just the offensive side of the ball. The defense, they looked insane. They looked great, and I'm so happy that Cam Ward got his welcome to the NFL moment, because that nonchalant stuff that he was doing in college, that's not going to fly around here. That's not going to fly around the no-fly zone 2.0. The Broncos had 6 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries as a team, but they were led by Talanoa Hufanga, who had 10 tackles, the new acquisition, the first-year captain for the Broncos. Great play from him. 10 tackles led the team. And then Nick Bonito, playing like he's broke, just signed a contract, got 3 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 TFLs. Great play from Nick Bonito. The defense was stifling. They were killing them down low. The 6 sacks, every time Cam Ward went down, a smile appeared across my face like I was in that Grinch movie from a long, long time ago where he just creeped all the way up. I was so excited to see that. But starting with a win is the most important thing in the NFL. Style points don't matter as much. Of course, you don't want to win all these one-score games and then not be able to bring that into the playoffs, but you're able to go out there and beat a team by 8 points. That's great. You don't need to win by 2 scores every single game. They still played well overall. That's what you need to look at. The Broncos need a win. They went out and got a win. That's what they did. Now, the best news coming out from yesterday, and this is a little bit off topic of the Broncos, but the Chiefs are last in the division for the first time since week 5 in 2021. They are actually last place after the rest of the AFC West started 1-0. Thank you. This is the only time you'll hear me say this. Thank you, Los Angeles Chargers, for letting the Chiefs know that it is not their division any longer. It is going to be a battle between the Chargers and the Broncos for who will win the division. And you know that I've got the Broncos. So a great week 1 for Denver, a great week 1 overall for Colorado. And I want to talk a little bit more about some Colorado football, but overall, the Broncos starting out with a win. Huge, huge, huge. As sloppy as it might have been, they went out and they won the game. They started 1-0, and that's all that you can ask for in the NFL. Now, moving on, the CU Buffs throttled Delaware en route to going 1-1. Now, the Buffs needed a win against an easy opponent like the Blue Hens to get their record back to even. And after a very slow start basically all the way up until the last minute of the first half, they were able to pull out the W as they won 31-7. And if you've heard this guy's name this weekend, it's deserved. This guy deserves all the attention that he's getting. Ryan Staub, that was the name. He took over for the 2 QBs ahead of him and outshined both of them. Caden Salter, the QB1, went 13 of 16, 102 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Julian Lewis got to play. Of course, that was the big news, is that he's going to be stepping out there on the field, playing a little bit. Not great. 2 for 4, 8 yards, and that's okay. He's a freshman. He's not even 18 years old yet. He graduated high school a year early, so give him some slack. It was crazy that they let him play right away. Anyways, I get you're going up against a team like Delaware, but you got to go out there and you got to win first and foremost. And with the way that it was looking, there was a 1-score game going towards the half, and it was not looking great for the Buffs. But then Ryan Staub showed up. With less than a minute remaining in the half, there's a 1-score game, and everybody was talking about how insane it was that the third-string QB was getting playing time. He ends up leading the Buffs to a last-minute touchdown to go into the half with a 2-score lead. He went 7 for 10, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, there are whispers of a QB battle starting to begin between Caden Salter and Julian Lewis, but now a new opponent in Ryan Staub might be entering the arena. He might have a real shot at being the QB1 next week. It would be insane to see. Caden Salter looks like he's still the guy, but Ryan Staub, he looks like he could be the guy just as much. It's between those two now. Let Julian Lewis sit a season. Let him grow. He's 17 years old. Let Ryan Staub and Caden Salter start to fight it out. That's what I want to see next week. That's all that I want to see next week. Now, overall, a great week. I mean, you can't ask for more. Of course, you can ask that the Broncos win by more, but a win is a win. And it's all that you want to see in the NFL. I do want to read some of your comments. Good morning, Joey. Just like I thought the game was sloppy, not good, and needs lots of work to do. Yeah, of course, you want to see growth throughout the season. The offense needs to tighten up. That's the bottom line. They need to tighten up because play like that, you play like that, you're not going to have a chance against the Eagles. You're not going to have a chance against the Packers, who dominated the Detroit Lions. You're not going to have a chance. So they need to tighten up. They need to sharpen themselves. They need to grow as a group, because that is not going to lead to winning. And you can't rely on your run game to get you all those offensive yards like they did yesterday. You just can't. Not in the way current football is. So you got to go out there and you got to tighten up and you keep that defense the way that they are, and they will start stacking wins. I've got faith. I mean, we saw it last season. You started slow and then they ended up winning games. Payton cost me the over. Yeah, tell me about it, man. The spread there was hell of a line. But that'll do it for your Denver Sports Daily. I will see you guys all tomorrow. We're getting ready for next week against the Indianapolis Colts, a game that may not be as easy as it might seem. And then next week, of course, the Buffs taking on their first Big 12 opponent in Houston. It'll be a crazy weekend, but that'll do it for your Denver Sports Daily. I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye, y'all.